Hello, everyone, and welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today, we have Mr. Rajat Baijal with us. Since the last 2 decades, Rajat has been regularly practicing at Honorable Rajasthan High Court and Honorable Supreme Court of India, and an active counselor in matters pertaining to all India high courts dealing with civil, criminal, appellate, and writ matters pertaining to service laws, education laws, revenue laws, family and property laws, and various other branches of laws. On international frontier, he's a distinguished member of the International Council of Jurists, United Kingdom, London, and an honorary member advocate with a couple of other international organizations and federations, including the International Federation of Global Green Information, Communication, and Technology, Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. So without any further delay, let me invite the man himself. Hello, Mr. Baijal, how are you doing today?
Okay, I am all well. How are you?
I'm doing so good, and I'm sure this conversation that we're going to have now will make my day even better. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm sure the viewers would be expecting a lot of information from this quick 15 minutes chat that we're going to have. So without any further ado, let me quickly jump onto the first question, Mr. Baijal. So, Mr. Baijal, I did a little bit of introduction of yours, but I'm sure our listeners, our viewers would be more happy to know about yourself in your own words. So if you could please describe about your legal journey so far, and also help us understand about those initial days, that when you were starting as a legal professional, how it really started.
I started my legal practice, that was the year 2000, 2K. Thereafter, the initial days were much struggling. You had to prove yourself. You had to prove your grit that you can stay in the practice. You are dedicated towards the practice, and that is your passion. So slowly with the years, I kept learning. I started my learning from the basics trial court. And from trial court onwards, I moved to High Court. I moved to Supreme Court with different kind of cases coming to me. It was always a kind of journey that was every case was a challenge. Every case was a take that required you to prove yourself. And with time, I could learn so many things. I could get to know so many people from the public. From the common public, from the elites. It was a journey providing me a great exposure. I could prove myself in the cases before the Honorable High Court, before the Honorable Supreme Court. And it is still continuing to be a journey. It is still continuing to be a journey because every day a new challenge, every day a new take, every day, every case having certain kind of a certain kind of a requirement that you need to prove, that you need to be confident about. So I suppose journey is very good, journey is very challenging, journey is very interesting, and it's continuing.
I'm sure it always continues, and that's the best part. It is continuing because you have been doing that. You've been doing what was actually required, and that's why it is continuing. I'd like to
one more thing which is very good is that I could not only have my talents at the national level. I was also given the opportunity to represent my views, to represent my ideas at an international level, and that is very good. If I see to it, that is very good because you are exposed at the international level, not only at the national level, at the international level. That's very good about it.
That's amazing. That's good to hear about your international exposure. I'd like to just add on to the same question, because I think here we would also want to talk about those, tell us about those complex legal issues that you had to work on, and describe the complexity. Tell us how you approached it.
There were many issues coming to me in various kind of cases, and I should describe some of the interesting cases that came up to me. It was, if you go very recent, the pandemic was around the entire world, and there were voices that some kind of investigation should be there about the role of China into it. And through International Council of Jurists, our president could file a petition asking for investigation. And everybody knows that WHO went into the process of investigating the entire pandemic, what were the causes, and there was a lot of scientific discussions over it. There were a lot of political discussions over it. So on an international frontier, if you ask me, I would like to be very much grateful to our president, Dr. Adish Agarwala, who went ahead with this petition. And I could also pour in certain of my views, certain of my insights into it. And that was very good, one thing on international frontier. On the national frontiers, there were cases dealing with the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act. And there was one very great ruling which was fought from our office. The case was of Tufan Singh. And the ruling was that any kind of a statement that is given to the authorities with Narcotics Control Bureau, that kind of a statement cannot be believed in itself until and unless it has been corroborated by other evidences on the record. And that was one thing which was very good for us, because the case got cited in very many journals also. There were cases dealing with insurance claims. We could make a law point there at in one such a motor accident claim case, that the involvement of the impugned vehicle is not required to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. If the preponderance of probabilities weigh into the fact that the involvement of the vehicle by which the offense is committed, the accident took place. If the preponderance of the evidences weighing to show that yes, the involvement of the vehicle is there, it is enough for the claimant to get his insurance claim. So these were kind of points in service laws also. There was a case which was requiring the authority to decide whether the honorarium can be considered to be wages or not. And if you see to the Payment of Wages Act, wages has been defined as any kind of a payment in terms of money that is given to the employee. So we could make the point before the authority that yes, honorarium is a part of definition under that is how the wages are defined. So honorarium can also be considered to be a wage, and it is very much justified for a claimant to claim it under the Payment of Wages Act. So there are a lot of cases. It's very difficult to pick out a single one from the rest of the others, because every case got me some kind of a proving out the law points. So that way it's fabulous.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think each and every case is important. You can't really, you can always say which word really, what was the case which really made you hard and really made you difficult, put you into the difficult situation. But almost each and every case does that, right? That's why we are asking for justice, because people were not able to kind of settle things on their own, right?
Yes, there were many cases which were very interesting to watch in Supreme Court of India. For example, they were cases of national importance. For example, it was the case of repeal deal. It was the case of national judicial accountability. And all these cases were also interesting to everybody. So it's very difficult to pick out one from the rest, because every case for a lawyer is a take, requiring him to prove out something, requiring him to learn something. So that way it's needless to say about what was the favorite one, what was because if you pick out one favorite, you mean to say that others are not favorite. So to me, each and every case was my favorite.
Amazing. I think there is a bit of learning for all of us. I'd like to kind of point this out for our viewers. If you are a young legal professional getting into this profession, make sure that you put in the same amount of effort on each and every case. No case is big or small. You have to always be at your best every time you are representing your client in front of the judges or the Honorable Supreme Court of India, or maybe High Court of India. All right, let's quickly move on to the next question, Mr. Baijal. And here we would like to talk about the pandemic. You just talked about the pandemic a bit in the first question as well. So the pandemic saw some courts moving towards more remote proceedings and availability. Is this sustainable and a positive way to increase access to justice, in your opinion?
To be very frank, no one can deny that yes, a sudden switching over uh, on technology, the sudden switching over on virtual court hearings, and these kind of things were taken to be a challenge by the legal fraternity as well as judiciary. There were initial hiccups, but there was one thing very good about it, that it encouraged the entire legal fraternity to get on to be upgraded to the technology, to discover the positive points that are involved in how sitting at one place we can argue, we can put the law points before the honorable court, and I think it is sustainable. But there are certain points which everybody should keep in mind. That firstly, I would like to say that any kind of a technology, we as human beings need to see in what ways and in what manners can it be fruitful to us, and in what ways and in what manners it becomes cumbersome to us. So in law industry also, the very this reasoning goes that as far as technology is concerned, for legal industry it is a tool. For example, in Supreme Court of India and the Honorable High Court of India, where a lawyer only needs to bring the law points before the Honorable Court, and the documents can be very well placed online before the judge as well as a lawyer, it's good. But in trial courts where evidencing is required, where a lot of a statement of witnesses are required, so we needed to develop a lot over it. And in relation to technology, this is a transition phase. We cannot hold ourselves back, restrain ourselves from not making use of the technology. We have to make use of the technology, and day by day we have to make it more and more user friendly and accustomed to our purposes. So I feel if with this kind of a spirit we move on, making technology adaptable and friendly to us, solving our purposes, if with keeping this thing is in mind, with the flexibility that yes, we are open to technology, we are open to use the technology, and with the encouragement to the common public that yes, you must technologically upgrade yourself, I feel the movement is very sustainable. I feel no reason why the movement cannot be very sustainable if we take it with a positive mind, positive frame of mind.
Absolutely, that's absolutely true, and I think it adds up a lot of value since the courts were not really accessible during the pandemic, and I think it must have been added a lot of value. But at the same time, you're right. You rightly said that technology need to improve, and we as humans also need to be more attached with the technology so that we can kind of take that into the usage. Thank you so much for answering that question, Mr. Baijal. I'll quickly move on to the next one. And here we talk about the current legal system. So how do you rate the current legal system drive towards encouraging access to justice? Is there tangible movement in closing the justice gap, do you think?
Uh, I feel, be it the legal fraternity or be it the judiciary, we at the legal fraternity and the judiciary, we all from the core of our heart do strive that justice must be accessible to each and every person without any limitation. In that drive, you can see there are very many legal aid camps to make the public aware of their rights. There are legal aids societies, and there are legal aids provided to the indigent persons who cannot afford to pay the lawyer. And then the systems are like alternate dispute resolution systems to cut away the delay that is involved in a regular judicial process, in the regular process of deciding a case. All these things, if you get to see, are giving a clear cut indication that yes, we at law, whether it be at the bar or at the bench, are very much encouraging, towards providing a easy access to justice. And if you in that light ask me, these virtual court hearings and these online conferences, online meetings are also a way to encourage a person to assess justice. For example, if I am sitting at one place and my client is sitting very far off from me, but he has a tangible case to be fought in court, with technology, with these kind of things we are having, the client need not travel to me down to meet me. He can very well sitting at his own place, talk about his case, discuss about his case, get the opinions. So I think the uh, flow of the things is very much towards encouraging justice and making it accessible to the remotest person of the country, of the nation. That's it.
Thank you so much. I think this really sums up the question very well. Moving on to the legal technology a little bit. In the era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you?
You see, no doubt, this is information technology age. And in law industry also, technology has become to us a sine qua non. If you ask me, the softwares, the databases have been to me a very great tool in assessing the kind of decided law points that have been decided, so that I can cite it, applying it to the particular case in my hand. And that is one tool which is very much right. Even before the pandemic, it was very much a tool which was of value, of utility to a lawyer like me. And secondly, uh, the technological upgradation, the technological stride, which has made things so easier, the information technology, that these days, if any kind of a case has been decided by Supreme Court of India or by any Honorable High Court of India, there it is on the law sites. There are so many law sites which are just reporting and doing this very thing only, that they are reporting the latest case laws decided by the Supreme Court, decided by the High Courts. And that way, these technological strides, these modern day technologies, and even before the pandemic, these were the tools which were very grateful, which were very usable, very friendly to me. And I could get justice to so many of the parties using this technology, using the databases, the softwares. So this has been the tool I have used the most.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. I'm sure a lot of legal professionals were making note of this. These are the tools that can also help you in your practice as well. I'd like to quickly move on to the next question now, Mr. Baijal, and this is going to be the last question of our session. And this talks about money. So time is money in any profession, right? And in legal, it's most of all. How do you ensure to make the best out of your time as a lawyer?
As a lawyer, I would like to tell everyone that the more relaxed you are, the less time conscious you are. Unconsciously, you make the very best use of your time. Once you get onto the pressures, the time is running out. Once you get onto the tensions that I have to do this very quickly and all these things, a lawyer must be a person with a very cool mind. You have to be very systematic, no doubt about it. You have to plan your schedules. You have to keep pace with the time. You have to keep pace with the people. And I could manage well my time, because every day of my life till date, I have assigned it to some task, to some purpose. And I have been aware that very many of the tasks and purposes are to my schedules, and we can complete it. Very many of the tasks and purposes are to other schedules, and we have to be, relenting room to the limitations that are involved in it. And with a very systematic planning, with a very systematic way of working, I could make the fullest utilization of my time. I can say that I didn't wasted a minute of my life till date of my life. If you are working, you are utilizing time. If you are not working and keeping your mind cool and enjoying, so that you can be better with more efficiency towards your work, you are again utilizing time. So with work or without work, I always utilized my time to the best way I could.
I think two points that I'd like to kind of call out from this quick answer would be, I think time saving does not really start when you get onto a job. It starts way before. If you're prepared well, you will be able to save up on time. And as you rightly said, if you're level-headed, if you're cool-minded, you'll be able to get to the root cause of your client's issue very quickly, and that would also be time-saving as a lawyer.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think it would be helping a lot of our fellow colleagues and legal professionals to be able to work on their time management very efficiently. With that, we come to the end of this session, Mr. Baijal. Thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. We would look forward to have yet another chat with you on some other legal topics soon. And for our viewers, thank you so much for joining us for the quick session today. If you like this video, please like and share this video with your colleagues, as well as subscribe to our channel Clickaway Creators to have more coming from the legal industry leaders like Mr. Baijal today. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Baijal. Have a good evening.